I'm not being called to leave yet. And maybe my place is to be here, and maybe my place is to, work with the community that I'm a part of. I don't know yet. I'm living in the moment, so who knows?
ADAPT 2030 Mini Ice Age Conversations covers changes in our climate due to a new and intensifying grand solar minimum. In the media, overlooking, downplaying, or burying cold weather changes occurring on our planet. This is in order to keep the global warming agenda steaming full speed ahead. I do this podcast and radio program because we need to begin conversations on how to adapt our food growing strategies long before 2030 as agricultural zones shift, affecting global crop output. But very few mainstream media outlets are talking about the most important issue of our time: cold weather crop losses. Our sun is going through a 400-year cycle, which has effects on our weather patterns as our magnetosphere weakens and the jet streams go out of flow. It's not CO2, it's not you, it's the sun. Are you ready to thrive in the grand solar minimum? Then join me for Mini Ice Age Conversations. I'm your host, David DuByne.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are on this planet. I have Kate Hart, the Radical Gardener, with me. You can find her work at radicalgardener.net, katehart.com. So true, and intuitively you're going to get these messages, and sometimes they do come in an instant, or people just make the instant change and they decide to do something on a whim or turn on a dime, but then they turn out that, by taking that chance, most people live in fear and go, no, I'm so stable here, I can't do this. But people who change on a dime, a lot of times, fortune favors the brave. And you do get these messages so when they're right. Yeah, when they come, they come, and people act on them or they don't act on them.
You are so right. I mean, the more that you're plugged into that intuitive voice and you listen to it, boy, the payoffs are just stellar. I wanted to get out of Michigan so bad. That was like 2000. When was that? I don't know, 1977. And I just drove until the water stopped me. I ended up in Seattle. I just wanted out of here. The gangs were going on. Detroit was really on a downhill slide. And I wanted to be in nature. I always wanted to be living where it was beautiful. And so I went to Seattle, and I'm telling you, I was in Seattle one day and I ended up in one of the most popular bands in the area. I mean, it was just all uphill. The minute I hit, my foot hit the ground in Seattle, I was off and running. And then in 2002, this inner voice would not stop. Says, get out of here, get out of here, get out of Seattle. You got to get out of here. You got to get out of here. And I drove my husband insane. And, we were on our way to Florida. He had a job fall through, and we ended up in Michigan. And the minute we hit Michigan, we were on fire. We had jobs. My band ended up with 28 Detroit Music Awards within a year and a half. It was crazy. I was running to keep up. So from my experience, I know it's just always going to be fine. It's going to be what it is. And I could have planned all I want, but it had nothing to do with what was actually going to happen. And because I stayed open into that intuitive voice, it really, really did me right. It really did.
And I'll come and follow up with a point on that, because I get so many messages across my board and private emails asking me, where's the safe place on the planet? Where can I move to? Where's the place where it's still going to be warm and you can grow food? Again, I don't have an answer, because everybody else is going to be migrating with you or trying to find the same thing. People are going to be acting out of fear, not acting out of what you talk about, intuition of finding the right spot for everybody. So if I tell you or give you a recommendation to go to, Myanmar, because it's warm down there and they're only growing half the area that they could grow food, perhaps that's not the right place to be for people. It's going to be different for everybody. I mean, the solutions that we're coming up with, when you take a look at Chris Thoreau and what they're doing out there with shipping containers in cold weather environments around Vancouver and further northern parts of Canada, they're growing basil in the middle of winter with just a basic rudimentary shipping container that they've retrofitted.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
there's
amazing.
so many solutions out there. It's not going to be a one thing fits all. There's all these solutions that are going to come out. So perhaps in really cold weather areas, we can still continue to have a bountiful crop, but we're just going to do it in a different way.
Right. I think, too, is what I'm doing is I'm really focusing on my health. So I've been working with an experiment with, well, not really experimenting, but I've been taking C60, and I've been taking that for 4 months. And I've just added my music, where I'm using my music to really, bump up the effects of C60. And it's been pretty incredible, the results that I've seen. I mean, I could just go on and on, like age spots have disappeared and moles have fallen off, and no physical pain. It's been remarkable. And so, if we've got remedies like this coming on board, and that, where we can increase longevity, and I'm excited. I'm just really excited. I'm finding a lot of solutions on my own, and I just think once we all come together and start sharing information, it'll be really exciting for all of us.
And speaking of agriculture and other things that can enhance our lives, I wanted to talk about CBD oil for just a second here, and I do thank Hemp Lucid for making this production possible. These days, CBD oil is becoming extremely popular for all of the good that it can do for your health. And doing a bit of research online, there's so much information coming out now detailing how effective CBD oil is for pain, anxiety, stress, and even some chronic illnesses. And moving forward in the whole grain debacle with the grand solar minimum cooling, hemp is going to be a major part of us transitioning to a new protein source in the seeds. But at the same time, the CBD industry is expanding. And as an example of this, Hemp Lucid, the most wholesome and most potent raw hemp extractions available. When you use Hemp Lucid products every day, you'll feel the benefits of mind, body, and spirit. You can see the full range of their products at hemplucid.com. You'll be amazed at the balance you feel. You'll find that link below and all the articles we're talking about in our discussion today in the description box below.
Yeah, now C60, that's the carbon 60. Can you go into a little more about that, and also maybe tell us where you get that carbon 60 from?
Yeah,
because this is becoming kind of a new trend where people are starting to pick up on it, at least what is considered the fringes. It's just not, making the whole mainstream media thing like, spirulina algae or something. But that C60 is definitely starting to bust out into, hey, it's real and it's a real therapeutic thing. So where do you get it, and then talk about what it is?
Sure. I interviewed Bob Greska, so if anybody's interested, just look for the interview that I do with Bob Greska on C60, and have developed a relationship with him. The reason I like Bob Greska C60, there's quite maybe 8 different suppliers that are selling. His is the only one in this country that's solvent free. It's a chemical that you find in paint thinner, and that's on a lot of the C60 that is sourced by the other companies. And Bob Greska is a carbon scientist. That's his background. He's worked on the space shuttles. He's a brilliant man. His C60 is affordable. So if you don't know about C60, what made it famous was a rat study. And I believe it was French scientists, and they wanted to find out the toxicity of C60. C60 really comes from shungite. That's what it comes from. So they had a group of rats that didn't take C60 and another group of rats that did, and they gave them a lot of C60 because they're trying to prove the toxicity. At the same time, they're exposing them to nonstop radiation. Well, the rats that were not on the C60, they died right away. The rats that were on the C60 not only didn't die, but they were thriving, and they lived to be 3 times older than they normally are. They actually had to finally kill the rats because they had to end the study. So that's really kind of what put it on the map. And what's different about the C60 than, say, if you're taking vitamin C to fight the radicals, the free radicals in your system, is that vitamin C will just dissipate after it hits the first free radical. The C60 C60 kills the free radical and then keeps going, kills the next one, keeps going, kills the next one. The reason for that is that it is shaped like a buckyball. So it's sacred geometry. So that's the strength of the C60. There's nothing toxic about it. I'm on a Facebook page where people are sharing their experiences with C60. People are giving it to their dogs. Their cataracts are going away. People don't have to wear their glasses anymore. I mean, it's basically adding longevity to people's lives. So for me, I was a wild child. I've broken my back and, all kinds of stuff. And today I've been taking it for 4 months. And today when I got up, I was absolutely no pain anywhere in my body, none. I had some arthritis in my knees. I mean, it's gone. The pain is gone. My eyesight is improving. My skin looks completely different. People that are watching me on my YouTube channel, my subscribers keep saying, oh my God, you look so much better. My hair is thicker. People are saying that have gray hair that it's turning brown again. So it really may be a longevity, something that adds to our longevity. Well, what it does too is that it increases the length of our telomeres, and that's when we start to age, is when our telomeres start to shorten due to the free radicals. So what I'm doing, and I don't know anybody else that's doing this, is I'm doing live blood and dry cell analysis throughout this process, and and I have pictures of it. And again, I just did a YouTube video on this just about 3 videos back, showing the results of these analysis, and it is phenomenal. I mean, it's unbelievable. I hate to go on and on about it because I sound a little bit like a loon, but I think this is the future to our health. I really do.
Let's take a minute to talk about one of the sponsors of Mini Ice Age Conversations podcast, Hemp Lucid. I actually wanted to talk about hemp a little bit myself because I believe that the transition of agriculture in the grand solar minimum is going to involve hemp for different protein sources and also fibers, as some grain crops go offline due to cold encroaching in the grow zones. And this is why I feel confident recommending Hemp Lucid over other CBD brands. And hemp is truly an amazing plant. We've been using this since antiquity. It's a versatile plant in nature. It has fiber, it has protein, has everything we need as a human species. Now in 2014, there was a congressional farm bill where industrial hemp was reintroduced as an agricultural commodity in the United States. Through the millennia, the benefits of the hemp plant were well known. Hemp agriculture dates back at least 10,000 years. There's thousands and thousands of known applications for hemp. I mean, really, look around you. Almost everything that you see right now could be made from hemp. Biodegradable, renewable, and we can use every part of the plant. It's a superfood, if you will. I talk about Moringa oleifera, spirulina algae. Well, here's another superfood, hemp. It promotes natural well-being anyway if you just eat the protein-rich seeds as you would with, say, sorghum or millet or amaranth. It's right in that same category of healthy, nutritious plants. And when you're feeling better, your energy levels are higher. That is a fact. I don't care what grain you're eating. If you're eating right, you're sleeping better, more energy. And the health benefits of all these other grains I mentioned, including hemp, are well tested in clinical studies. There are literally millions of published papers on the science of how these grains, including hemp, work in your body. Now, one particular category of hemp products called CBD oil, it's been in the news a lot recently. CBD is a biochemical compound found abundantly in the hemp plant, not just the seeds, not just the leaves, the entire plant. The hemp CBD oil has a perfect lock and key relationship with the cell receptors, not only in your brain, but widespread throughout your body, providing you a wider spectrum of subtle but noticeable improvements for your mind, body, and spirit. And Hemp Lucid is becoming an innovative force in this blossoming industry, providing pure, delicious, effective Colorado hemp CBD oil, all natural, non-psychoactive extract of the entire plant, not just the isolated CBD molecule. And it doesn't have any of the euphoric properties normally associated with the cannabis plant. Now, talking about extraction methods, with Hemp Lucid, they don't use any solvents or additives, nothing artificial. And while you are looking for an extract, You need to look for clean, pure, and also that the chemical structure of the ingredients remain fully intact. Hemp-derived CBD oil is legal in the United States. It has multiple valuable uses in everyday life. Hemp Lucid strives to continue the work of nature in the human body using only the purest ingredients, and they do mean it when they say experience life again. Give their oils a try and at least learn more about the subject of CBD oil at hemplucid.com and use the discount code ADAPT at checkout to save 20% on your total order.
Yeah, and you have to wonder how many of these other exact, say, mechanisms or possible health benefits that longevity are out there. You know, we talk different types of monatomic gold, monatomic silver, C60, but just the general public's not usually able to get their hands on such things. A lot of people have to, you know, create their own monatomic silver, etc. Just trying to do it at home, literally. There's a lot of these that have to be in rife frequencies as well. You know, why was rife's research all taken, destroyed, and you know, the healing chambers that you would sit in, it was basically orgonite in flat panels with sound vibration put into it, and they've just cured people left, right, and center by using orgonite surrounded with sound frequency in people's bodies. But again, you know, these are things that I think are purposely withheld from us. And I wanted you, could you spell this person's last name? Bob Greska, but how do you spell Greska?
It's Greska, Greska. And the name of his website is c-60.com. And what's great about Bob and David, I suggest if you're interested, is call him, because he'll talk to you. Just tell him I told you to give him a call. He's so accessible. So if you have any questions, and what's great about this stuff, there's no distributors, there's no pyramid. This is, you get it from the supplier. He's the most honest one. Now, the one that a lot of people know about is they know about the Purple Power because Cliff High talked about it. And I took the Purple Power for a month, but there I could tell there was some, now this is for me, maybe other people have had a different experience with it, but both my husband and I found it to be really harsh, and then come to find out that it does have solvent on it. So when I switched over to Bob's, and that my subscribers really kind of leaned on me and says, listen, you need to go over and look at this C60. This is a better C60. So when I watched an interview with Bob, and I saw how honest he was and very thorough. So that's the one I would recommend. There's like I said, there's like 7 different ones, but I already took the Purple Power. That's not one I would take again. For me, I wouldn't, but Bob Greska's is the one I would take, and he's very accessible.
Yeah, and then, you know, this is what I go back with the medical industry here, because things, imagine if you had this combination here, something like spirulina algae, vitamin C, and C60. You know, it's so cheap to have these compared to going to these doctors. What if you just had cat's claw, una de gata, you know, cat's claw, which is another, or just a moringa powder, and then you couple that in, spirulina, cat's claw, moringa, and then C60. I mean, these are such cheap remedies that have such benefit for the body, you know.
Right. What I've been doing now with the C60, because we're monitoring my process, you know, because I always like to see how things work. What I find exciting about the C60 is we're talking about all this radiation coming in. And so what better thing to take than the C60, where these rats were thriving? You know, that's when I first heard about it, and I heard about that experiment, and just knowing, you know, from listening to your channel and Diamond's channel, and I thought, oh my God, this is a great remedy for that. So, and then now what I've done, because, you really detox on this. I mean, like it's getting rid of those free radicals. So now I've added lymphatic massage and craniosacral therapy, which helps because I'm not an athlete. I sit a lot. I garden. I don't run around. So the toxins get a little trapped and take longer to come out of me than maybe they would someone else. So I've added lymphatic massage and craniosacral, and I am telling you what, as of this week, I feel like $1,000,000. So how encouraging is that here I am at 68 years old and I feel better than I have felt in years. I'm really encouraged.
Yeah, and it's going to be, as we move into this grand solar minimum too, there are going to be some breaks in the supply chain, absolutely. And this has been one of the things that if you go back in history and you find, specifically on the Dalton minimum, we thought it was pretty good. They had steamships at the time, and it was pretty well connected at that time in the world. I mean, they didn't have airplanes, the roads weren't there with automobiles, but it was still, comparatively to what we'd had in the last couple thousand years, it was the most connected and the fastest, speediest transportation, especially with steamships, Right. At that time, they found the same thing, that in the grand solar minimum, the supply chain channels broke down, ports were iced in, other things weren't delivered. There was a break here, something wasn't packed there, and ships were running, and they actually stopped some ships from running in different places. So if we see this happening, we know that in the modern minimum, the same exact thing happened, although this is more land transport with the breakdown in the supply chain, if you will, back then. We're going to see supply chain disruptions again during this new grand solar minimum, so you're going to be more responsible for finding your own.
That's right.
Yeah, health benefit or food supplies or medical supplies, whatever it might be. Could be everything from boots to clothes, anything. But you're going to be more responsible for finding substitutes because there are going to be breaks. And, these super high-tech medicines that are manufactured in one single company by one single company, if that goes down, that's whole supply of that medicine dries up. So you're going to need to look at alternatives as well in the future, just for your own well-being. You're going to have to do a lot of substitution coming up, and that includes grains, medicines, etc.
Right. You have to learn to self-diagnose. So I've gotten very good at it. I know what's wrong with me. If something goes wrong, I know what it is. I usually know what to do about it now. But, I have been around it, since I was a very little girl. My mother was really interested in this stuff. But, I've gotten very good at self-diagnosis. And again, that intuitiveness, I'm pretty sure that this is what it probably is. And you know what? I'm always right. So, yeah, we have to learn to take care of ourselves. I mean, who wants to hand their health over to a stranger? I sure as hell don't, and so if you use that intuitive voice and just read up on some basic things, just like you were saying, like one of the most basic is look at your iodine, look at your minerals. It's really basic stuff. But I highly recommend that people take C60, because there is a lot of radiation out there, and this really helps to eradicate it.
And I do thank Hemp Lucid for making this production possible. The most wholesome and most potent raw hemp extractions available. You can see the full range of their products at hemplucid.com. You'll be amazed at the balance you feel.